Here we go. 8 lines from the bottom. Shiurin Daraisinin. So we just finished off after Gavaldik Chazara that we found out that we have two separate worlds in Klal Yisrael. Fascinating. That we have Rabbi Yehuda who says Halacha l'Moshe Misinai that a sukkah is 10 tefachim. That was one world of Klal Yisrael. The other world of Klal Yisrael was Rabbi Meir, who says that an amma is 6 tefachim. An amma is 6 tefachim. Therefore, we know that at the top of the keruvim were 20 tefachim, thereby covering over seichachin over 10 tefachim. How do we know over 10? There we have multiple mahalchim. How to know the aron is 10? The 9 plus 1 of the kapayers. But Rav Yehuda taught us it was halacha l'Moshe Misinai. Now Rav Yehuda said, according to Rav Cheber Rashi Amarav, Shiurin, Chatzitzin, Mechitzin. These three entities are halacha l'Moshe Misinai. Zakti Gemara, Shiurin. You just told me that Shiurin. Now which Shiurin? Shiurin just means measurements. Shiurim, like Kizayis, like Revius. We have many Shiurim in halacha. Frakti Gemara, Shiurin. Daraisaninu. It's a pasuk. Tersev. Eretz, Chita, Usaira, V'gefen, Uteina, V'rimoin, Eretz, Zeis, Shemen, Udvash, notably known as the Shivas Aminim. Says the pasuk, the Shivas Aminim. Va'omer Rav Chanin, and explains Rav Chanin, Kol ha-pasuk hazeh. This whole pasuk, L'shiurin ne'emar, was said for shiurin, meaning each word in the pasuk teaches us a different shiur. So again, before we get into what the shiurim are, that's already the kasha. We just said shiurim are halacha l'Moshe Misinai. What do you mean? We learn it from a pasuk. We learning shiurim from the pasuk. If it's a pasuk, it's not halacha l'Moshe Misinai. That's the kasha of the Gemara. But now let's understand what are the different shiurim that we learn from the pasuk. Haditnan, we learned in a Mishnah. Excuse me. V'amar Rav Chanin, kol pasuk hazel shiurin nemar. Chita is for what? Lebeis hamenuga, the house of menuga, meaning saras. What is the house of saras? Ditnan. As we learned to the Mishnah, explains the Mishnah. What halacha is of saras? Hanichnas, one who enters. Lebeis hamenuga, one who enters into a house of. That was cool.
Oh.
He just, that was...
My picture just posted.
You don't like sushi, but you like it.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem.
Menuga is saras?
Menuga, nega. Very good. Nega is saras. Thank you. Base menuga, a house that has saras. So anichlas, one who enters in the base menuga, a house of saras. So the question is, when does he become tameh? What's the halacha? The halacha is v'kelav. This is case number 1. His kelim are al ksivav on his shoulders. V'sandolav, and his sandals. V'tabatov, and his rings are biyadav. So he walks into the house with his clothing on his shoulders. He's not, well, I don't know if he's wearing clothing or not. That's not the nikuda that we're caring about right now. There is also clothing. It could be he's not wearing clothing. This wouldn't be the craziest thing to have in a Gemara. But that's not the important detail here is he's holding clothing on his shoulder. He's holding his shoes and he's holding his ring. So what's the halacha in all these cases? Again, what's the critical detail is he's not wearing his shoes. He's not wearing his clothing. He's rather holding his clothing. Who? He himself. Ve'hein, and they. What is they? The clothing, the shoes, the rings are tamein miyad. The moment he walks into the house, even if he walks in and walks out, the second he walks in, the clothing that he is holding, the shoes that he is holding, the rings that he is holding are all tamei miyad that we learn out from the pasuk. Now, what do the rows have to do with anything? Let's see.
So if you're wearing
very good, perfect. Continues the Gemara on the top of Vavam and Aleph. L'shtikl shiput simnu. Pass down here. There's more room here. We have to start leaving that. We're good. We're good. No, I'm not asking to eat. I just want to make room. Shtikl homeless over there, and you push it in. You're in the toilet. Hayalavush. These are our problems that you're in the toilet. I mean,
No,
anyway.
no,
No, Baruch Hashem. No, we have people. Says the Gemara on the top of Amam and Aleph, as Rabbi Yehuda, as you pointed out, Hayalavosh. What if you are wearing? God bless you. Hayalavosh. You see, I don't really have faith so much in the Chaver yet. We'll get there. Maybe one more night and we'll have faith. Every night I'm like moving it off. Okay, we'll get there. Hayalavosh, on the top of Amam and Aleph. Don't worry, we'll synopsize in a moment. We'll let everyone get themselves together. Hayalavosh, Caleb, you're wearing your clothing, v'sandalov, b'raglov, and your shoes are on your feet, v'tabata betzpois, and you're wearing your ring. Then what is the halach on the second line of Vavam and Aleph? Who? He, the man, is telling me that the clothing, shoes, and rings are tahirin. Until what? And this is the detail that we've been waiting for. Add until sheyisheh, that he delays, literally. He waits in the house. Bechdei achilas pras. The amount of time to eat a pras. A piece of bread. What type of bread? Pas chitin. V'loi pas soirin. And not barley bread. Mesav. Eating it derech achila. Eating it sitting down like a mensch. Va'oichel b'lifton, eating it together with lifton, which means either with bread. Well, it is bread. It means as a meal. So again, let's
dipping in sauce.
Yeah, lifton in all of halacha and all of everywhere is a shayla. What in the world is lifton? Nechal b'lifton is $1 million shayla. But together, you want to dip it in sauce.
How does it make sense? That you would think that if he's wearing it, it should be part of him, and it should be tome. And the opposite, if it's not worn,
so it's Gzeirus HaKosovs, if you want. Rashi says Gzeirus HaKosovs. We'll explain in a minute. Correct. Let's just explain. Chavra, we're trying to figure out why are we here? What are we doing? Why are we figuring out people walking to the house of Saras? We're figuring out a shear of chita, which is fascinating because we all know K'nei Achilas Pras. Whether you know about it or don't, you really do know about it. I'm sure once upon a time in your life you heard that when you eat something, you have to eat it with Pesach, Leil Seder. If you heard nothing else, you know, Leil Seder, that matzah, there's always one overly religious person at the table that's eating it extremely fast, and there's another overly religious person making fun of him for eating it so fast.
My father also always makes us have like this.
Right, and then there's the other overly religious person that's giving, and then there's other kids saying that he's going off the derech because he has too much matzah, and you have the other kids saying, okay, this is Baruch Hashem, Leil Seder, give out. But what's the point? Kidei Achilas Pras is a shear. The spitz, the real shear is where? Here. Tzaras, not by Leil Seder, and not by eating a mezainis, and not by your lechem mishnah Friday night that you're supposed to eat quickly. It's over here by Tzaras. What's the halacha? The halacha is, if you enter into a house that has Tzaras, if you are holding your clothing, whether you're wearing other clothing or not, leave it out. Depends on whichever picture is going to make it better in your memory to remember. Perhaps it'll make it better if you're just holding your clothing and nothing else. You remember, wow, fascinating case. He's walking in, just came out of the shower, he's holding his clothing, he's holding his shoes, he's holding his ring also. This is why he's holding the ring. Yesh Ladim, what was happening before the story as he's holding his clothing. Everyone can use their own imaginations or not. Yeah. The mikvah, the before the chait. Okay.
He's wearing a ring.
Was he wearing a ring? That's what I was going to, but I didn't want to go there out loud. Yeah. Very good. Very good. We all assumed. Very good. Says the Gemara. So he walks in. What's the halacha? Everything is tamei miyad. It's Gzeirus HaKosov because he's not wearing his clothing. He's holding it, so tamei. But if he's wearing his clothing like a normal person, his shoes and his ring, then he, the guf, the body, he himself is tummy, but the clothing is only tummy if he stays in the house the amount of time to eat. Kidei achilas pras. Chitin, wheat, dipped, like a mensch. How long is that? Something about that. 4, 6, 9, something like that.
Let's say he's doing both. He's wearing...
Good, so then the ones he's wearing will be dust, the ones he's holding will be dust. That's the Gzeirus HaKosov. But why do we need this again? So what? We're in the middle of a kasha. Whatever he's wearing is called wearing. Whatever he's holding is called holding. 100%. Now, why do we bring this in? We're in the middle of a kasha of the Gemara. Because we finished off yesterday saying that Rabbi Yehuda learned that the din of pras is bread. The din of mechitza, or actually pras is a piece, but it's bread.
Wait, is there a measurement to it?
Oh, very good. Rashi says chatzi kikar, half a loaf. What's a loaf? Good question. Rashi doesn't say. It's part of the complication over here.
A hero sandwich.
Nowadays it's a zay. So, we're not asking a kasha. Because we learned, how do you know the mechitza? How do you know your sukkah 10 tvachim? Shane Gemara yesterday reviewed it, said Allah Moshe Misinai. We said there are three things Allah Moshe said: Shiurin, Chatzitzin, and Mechitzin. So we're now just went tangential to figure out what is the din of shiurin, which is Lach Moshe Misinai. Frag the Gemara, shiurin is Lach Moshe Misinai. This is a shear of wheat. And it's not a Lach Moshe Misinai, we're learning it from a pasuk. That is the kasha of the Gemara. Next, says the Gemara, Se'oira, again we're in the middle of the Shivas Aminim, Se'oira, which is barley. What is the shear of barley? Ditanan, as we learned in a Mishnah, Etzem, a bone, Kise'oira, the size of a barley bean, Metame, gives off Toma, Bimaga, if you touch it, Ubimasa, or if you lift it. Ve'enoi mitame, but it does not give off tuma ba'oihel. Tumas oil, if it's in a room, in order to give off tumas oil, it has to be bigger. Very good. So, why do we need to know the share of a sa'ira, of a barley bean? Is the size of a bone of an etzem that would give off tuma via touching or lifting it. Eretz, chita, sa'ira, gefen. For all the Israelis amongst us, we know this. The rest of all of us Americans are like, what does Zayin Minim, Eretz, Chita, Oira, right? And our kids are busy singing the song that they learned. Don't worry, they'll forget it by the time they're our age. Geffen, what's a geffen? Hopefully not. Geffen, what's a geffen? What's a geffen, Chavra? Grapes. Kedei, what's the share of grapes? Kedei, Revius Yayin.
Is not allowed to eat
Revius Yayin, which we know Revius Yayin from Kol Tarakula, right? Kiddush is Revius. Whereas again, the typical Revius is Nazir. That's the amount that a Nazir could drink. Te'ena is a date, is a fig, is a fig. Always confuse those two. Te'ena is a, I'm right, it's a fig, right? I'm not crazy. It's a fig. It's not a date. Date is the next one. Yeah. You want to date Tamar. But in the world of Israelis, it's confusing because their girl's named Te'ena also. That joke doesn't work anymore. Anyways, Te'ena is kigroigigreis. The size of a groigigreis, size of a dried fig, l'haitzah Shabbos, which is the amount that you have to carry to be obligated for carrying on Shabbos without an Erev, of course. Obviously, even less than that is very good. Even less than that is usr. You're not allowed to carry any amount, but midaraisa, we're not going to stone you and throw you off a cliff unless you hold an amount that is a groigigreis. Remind.
That's what they do for.
Yeah. By the way, Shabbos. I just started Shabbos again. Shabbos. It's funny. Like sometimes you belittle Shabbos. Shabbos gives skila. Shabbos is more chomer than Eishes Ish. Paint the picture in your brain. Shabbos gives the highest level of skila.
Why? What's Eishes Ish?
Eishes is no. It's one of Dalam's Bezdin, but it's not skila. It's not skila. I think it's Herrick. But which is Shabbos is the most chomer. Skila is 3 stories up, throw you off a cliff. If you're still alive afterwards, what do they do next? Take more rocks and push them at the big rocks first, and the little ones, and the limbs still moving, they pelt them down. That is skila. That is the einish of skila. I know in the world we live in, it's not so politically correct to talk, punishments. But okay, listen, once in a while you have to know what it is. Remind. What is a remind? Yeah. Rahman al-Islam. Remind. I'm sure you've seen way too many. Remind is a pomegranate. Titanan called kli balabatim. Any kli of a balahabayis. Any kli that a person uses in his house. Shiurin, the shear is a remind. What does that mean? The shear is a remind. It means if it gets a hole in it, when is it considered not a kli and therefore will be tahar? Is a hole the size of a remind, which is quite the hole. Quite the hole. It's not like this little crack. When a kli is broken, broken.
Why would it be tahar?
Stop.
A kli that's broken is not mekabel.
It's mitayr. It's mitayr. Look at Rashi. Breaking it's mitayr. Look at Rashi.
Because it's not
Because
anything.
it doesn't have a shine kli anymore.
Yeah.
That's by earth and by clay.
But you broke it. So now what? You have to fix it now.
Yeah.
The size of
You want? I'll give you. If you know, we're saying if you want to, I'll give you a practical case. If you want a practical case in the world of tfilas kelim, let's say I have a big metal. Let's say I have a big metal bowl. I have to put it in a mikvah. Is there any other way I could get around? Let's say there's no mikvah. The answer is if you break it and you rebuild it. How do you break it? You make a hole in it the size of a remind. You break it. And then you can rebuild it. Now, does it actually have to be size of a remind for tefillas kelim? It's a different story.
Your wife is going to kill you.
Yeah, it's a
Your wife
different
is
story.
gonna kill you.
Yeah, she won't be so happy.
Let's say you have the right kalim, can you
I
smash
try to
it
take off the
down?
label and push it the whole thing.
Can you smash it down and rebuild it?
Which one?
Let's say you have the right kalim to make it. The way they make a pot is they smash
Believe it or not, it's machlekes of Paixium. The Debertina Rav writes you could just smash. He says with pans and whatnot. He says you could just smash them. Whole shayla disposable pans and whatnot. He says you could smash it. Obviously not. Anyways, okay. Eretz Zeis Shemen Udevash. We're up to the final three. Zeis Shemen Udevash. 2. Zeis Shemen Udevash. Classical mistake. Olive oil and honey. Eretz Shekol Shioireho Kizeisim. The land that all its shiurim are like olives. Frakti Gemara, all the shiurim are like olives. We just gave a whole list of shiurim which aren't like olives. Kol shiurel sal gedaitach. You think all the shiurim? Hoyigani damar, and we just said all the other ones which aren't azayis. Alei masheroiv seirel kizeisim. Tavash. What's honey for? A date honey, which is the amount that one is obligated for eating on Yom Kippur. Obviously, on Yom Kippur, any little bit you're not allowed to eat, but again, deraisa, you're only over if you eat a ksayves hagasa, a fat, literally, date on Yom. The really good cricket. Oh my God, you don't know what's going on here, Yom Kippur. What was this? It was pushing.
And he left Mom's right after.
Mochalach.
Yeah, it was going crazy.
Someone tried that?
Tried everything.
And then he left right after.
Where was it? There was one. I don't even know what it was. Shows we were davening. Hashem was trying to stop us.
He was gone after Yom Kippur.
Frakti Gemara. Chaver, let's go. I know we learned a lot of lines. We're in the middle of one question. We got to learn one question. Frakti Gemara. Alma. Daraisa ninu. We see that it's all a din daraisa, and you told me it's what? Elach l'mayshim Sinai. Answers the Gemara. V'tizbra, is what you're saying logical that all these shiurim that we just listed are really a din daraisa? Shiurin miksivi. What did the pasuk say? Pasuk said eretz echita, right? The pasuk just listed the items. How do we translate? The chita means the amount to eat a loaf of bread in a saras. How do you translate that geffen means revius of wine? That, shura miksivi alma hilchasaninu, that's the halacha l'Moshe Sinai, is how to darshin the pasuk, ukra asmachta ba'alma, and the pasuk is an asmachta ba'alma. One more kasha. Chatzitzin, daraisa ninu. Nachamol, again, Rav Yehuda said three things which were daraisa. Shiurin, chatzitzin, mechitzin. Mechitzin was one that we need 10 tvachim. Shiurin we just dealt with. What's the next one? Chatzitzin. What's chatzitza? Chatzitza is going to the mikvah. Chatzitza is the label on top in the kli going to the mikvah. Chatzitza is the nail polish. Chatzitza is everything. Chatzitza is all the things you got to take off before you go into the mikvah. You should wash your flesh in water. From there we learn actually davar chayitz. You're not allowed to have anything chayitz. The article word is interposing. You're not allowed to have something that breaks, that stops the water from touching your body. So asks the Gemara, why are you telling me it's halach l'Moshe Sinai? We learn it from a pasuk. Answers the Gemara, ki asya helchasa le sayroi, to the din of chatzitza by the hair. That's the halach l'Moshe Sinai. Oche de Rabba bar Chana. Nima has one hair, kshura, that's tied in a knot, chaytzatzes. It creates a chatzitza. Why? Because within that knot, very good. Shalosh, 3 hairs tied together, einon chaytzin. Shtayim, 2 hairs, eini yodea. We don't know the halacha of 2 hairs that are knotted together. Shtayim, eini yodea. Shtayim, and we conclude this part of the Gemara. Ask the Gemara 1 second. Sayranami daraisin. We also have a pasuk about the hair. Techsev Rachas S. Bisara b'mayim. S. What does the word S mean? Hatofel libisare. That which is auxiliary. That which is enhancing your body. Which is your hair. My new sayroi. So we see a pasuk is your hair. Why are you telling me it's Lach Moshe Sinai? Answers the Gemara. Ki as also licht Rav Yitzchak. We're going to stop over here. Rav Yitzchak is going to take up tomorrow, which we'll learn out the dinim of chatzitza. However, we just learned an amud of Gemara. Lots of difficult dinim. Lots of difficult dinim. Let's make sure we have a good chazar. How's the chazar going, Lamaisa? Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Well, wait. Is anyone around tomorrow night?